Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, no matter where in this wonderful world you may be. Thank you so much for making the Highbury Squad part of your day. Let's rock and roll.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad.
Good morning from me, good afternoon from him, and hello to everyone from all corners of the earth. Welcome to the Highbury Squad post-game player rating show. Southampton versus the Arsenal. Mr. James Johnstone back in the house.
Hello. Are you gonna leave them hanging?
Oh,
yeah. Yeah, at ease, Scotties.
At ease, squaddies, at ease. Wow. Hello to all the usual suspects in the house. Our chief like officer on red alert here to make sure that you all hit the like button on the way in, please. We charge no fees. You've got your special wristband. You get to say whatever you want as long as it's respectful. And yeah, let's start, shall we? James, that was, yeah, Akis, I hear you. Why don't we start there because then we can really talk about the football, right? James, what were your thoughts on the referee? Clearly the squaddies aren't happening. That ref should, I think, this is where I feel refs should be looked at in the sense of they should have red and yellow cards for the season too, because that was shocking. I'm watching the NFL later and I'm like, I thought the NFL started at 10 a.m., not 6 a.m. Arsenal kickoff. What was your take on the ref?
To be fair, he's one of those guys that if he's on fire in front of you and he's writhing around in pain, but you've got a cup of your urine in your hands, you're getting a straw and an umbrella, aren't you? You're not putting him out, are you? Let's be brutally honest. You're getting a straw and an umbrella, and you're taking a chance on what's in the cup.
Okay, so I've just decided that the next merch item in the Highbury Squad shop is the short book of phrases from James Johnstone.
Honestly, this guy, I agree with the comment that was put in there. You have to make him irrelevant, right? I totally agree. We stopped playing after 25 minutes, so I don't want to sit here and absolutely rag on a ref because we should have enough quality there from ourselves to go on and win that game without bringing the ref into it, because that's what we did. You could say arguably when it was the Invincibles era, the refs were worse because there was even less camera angles, there wasn't VAR, and to be fair to them, they weren't even in shape. Half of them couldn't keep up with the game back then. So but yet we, like someone put in the comments, made him irrelevant and we carried on going. But no, he was absolutely disgraceful. That guy for Southampton, the one who had all the tattoos on his neck and everything else, I've forgotten it. Was it Leviathan or something?
Well, that's a movie, Leviathan.
Yeah.
An old one.
He done that blatant elbow into Jesus's back the first half, like right in front of him. And then there was the period in the second half where Jesus is on the ground and it's right in front of the ref, Sophie. And Gabriel puts his hand out as if to think the guy's going to help him back off the floor again. And the guy stamps like that onto Jesus's hand right in front of the ref. Now, I know it's petty, but that's at least a booking. I'd be like, you've just seen him. He's kicked out of my hat. Like, the guys do you know what I mean? Like, what is going on here?
I mean, Jesus, we'll get to him, but he was beaten up today.
Yeah.
Totally battered and got no protection from the referee and is supposed to be, one of the star players of the league. Saka had a couple of moments as well where he received no protection. There was a tackle on the right side where he was held back in that first half and did not get the benefit of the referee either. So, it's Lianco, by the way.
That's it, Lianco.
Thank you to the squaddies who are always on deck to help. Right. Almost 200 of you in live chat. Please hit that like button. Hello, Soph. Hope you're well. Good to see you back. And MK is live from the Fox and Hounds in Los Angeles. Love it. Rich, hope life in Turkey is good. Speaking of turkeys, let's get to it, shall we? Look,
Dry. It was very dry. The
it was very
performance.
dry. There was no gravy.
No gravy.
No
Yeah.
gravy
Yeah.
whatsoever.
A condiment-less Arsenal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no,
got a
sorry.
little
Gravy's a hot sauce. I apologise. Yeah.
got a little caught. I agree. Feels like a defeat. Now, look, let's start at the tippy top of the mountain, right? First half, first 25 minutes, I thought that we were great. This is why I use Benjamin White as the thumbnail on the show. And I just want everyone to know this is how hard it is sometimes when you put the show up at halftime and things can change. Now, maybe I would change that thumbnail to Gabrielle or maybe xhaka. But James, why don't we start at the very tippy top and I'll give you the stats first and then we can start going through the team, which will then help us have the conversation about the game overall. Southampton had 10 shots on goal. We had 12. 3 on target for both teams. 40% possession for them. Do the maths on them, what we had. 355 passes for Southampton, 542 for us. Accuracy 86% for the Arsenal, 80 for Southampton. 8 fouls for us, 11 for them. Felt like double that, to be honest with you. Yellow cards, 2 for them, 1 for us, which I know that you feel very strongly about. No red cards, 3 offsides for us, 4 for them, and 9 corners for Southampton, 4 for us. So in the first half, Tony's like sitting there. She goes, "Why haven't there been any corners yet?" And then literally Southampton got what, like 5 corners in the space of 10 minutes. So I banished her, sent her to bed. I said, just leave the room, stop talking. But yeah, so let's go through the old squaddy, shall we?
Yeah, no worries. Do you want to start from the tippy top of the tree and work our way down as always? Or do you want to
Yeah,
go back to front?
No, let's start with Ramsdale.
Okay. Yeah, Aaron Ramsdale for me today. It didn't really have much to do. I'm going to give him a 6. I fought for the goal. Possibly, if I'm being harsh, he could have done a bit better. I think sometimes when he goes down, he goes very quick because I think he's confident in his pace that he might be able to get the ball from, and then it sort of leaves the side. It's pretty much once I've committed, I'm going to leave that corner. So, but that again, that's me feeling incredibly harsh. Other than that, I thought as well the first corner, the very first one, nearly got Douglas Luiz'd again. If you watch, he waits a very long, and then he's like, crap, punch. He waits too long. I'm like, if you think you're going to get it, don't stop. Just, even if you clock your player and if you spark him out, get that ball. That's your job. And there was a bit there on that very initial first Ward-Prowse corner where I think he stopped and then he went. I'm like, no, just back yourself and go straight away.
Yeah. I see what you mean about the goal. I think it is a little bit harsh, but let's be honest, it was Tomiyasu's fault mostly, because he got turned. It was a bit like Pete Burns. What's that song? You spin me right round, baby, right round. Yeah, so that was sloppy. The defending was sloppy, and Ramsdale's exposed. His toe felt like it was 1 inch from that ball, literally 1 inch. And I just feel like there wasn't particularly much that he could do about it. In the first half, I don't think he had too much to do. And it felt like he was a little bit cold in the second half. It felt like because the first half, the last 20 minutes, actually, he was required to come into the game a little bit more. But again, I'll give him a 6.5. I'll give Rambo 6.5. I can't pinpoint any mistakes and I can't pinpoint anything great that he did. It just felt like he did his job. And that's the kind of performance that I think it was with Rambo.
Yeah. Okay. Ben White,
next?
Sophie, or Benjamin White, if you want to go on the technicalities.
I love him. And I think he was so good in the first half an hour. And again, it was funny because when Tony watches a game with me sometimes, because she doesn't watch every game, she's like, "Holy cow, he's really good." And I said, "Yes, he's been great this season." And he and Saka have built up this really great understanding. His overlapping in that first half an hour, I thought, was brilliant. His contributions overall, his defensive work, he's smart in with the ball. And it's kind of weird because the way I want to grade the team, I kind of wanted to give them a first half grade and a second
Yeah,
half
I
grade.
know what you mean.
If we're doing Benjamin in the first half, he gets an 8.5 for me. If we're doing
Mm.
Benjamin in the second half, I felt like he looked fatigued and he was giving like a 6.5 performance. However, James, what's worrying me is this Thursday, Sunday, these men, aren't used to playing like this. And that comes, they need to be conditioned better. They
Yeah.
looked absolutely pooped in the second half.
Mm.
And it worries me because there's a lot of other landmines to deal with this season, James. You've got the World Cup. We're going to go hopefully deep into Europa League. FA Cup's coming up, League Cup's coming up. And today, I think, was a really good example of when that first 11 isn't clicking or isn't playing well, and your bench come on and don't really affect the game. That's going to be a little bit concerning. So, yeah, Ben White, first half gets an 8.5, second, 6.5.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it for the whole game, so I'm gonna round him out at about a 7. Um, I thought in that first 25 minutes, I thought he was absolutely sensational. We'll get onto him a bit later on, obviously, because he's the top of the tree, so he's going to be the last player. But the initial ball that he played in
Mm-hmm.
to Martinelli, and then it went to Hazy. That's unbelievable. Part like it's such a good ball in, and the assist from him as well. He's had a few of them all season, but there's never been someone in the box that's connected. And finally, Granit Xhaka was there and arrived, and yeah, oh boy, did he tuck it away! And we'll touch on him later on as well. But no, I'm going to round him out at a 7. I thought that he waned in that second half, especially, and when he does, wane and run out of gas, so does Saliba. Saliba started to look shaky when Ben White couldn't keep up with what was running behind him, because he's then theoretically like, I've got to do two people's jobs here, Ben, and I don't want to. Like, come on, get back into it, son, or otherwise I'm gonna, I'm gonna get involved here as well and have to muck in. But yeah, no. Overall, I'll round him out at a 7.
Bearded Gooner, good friend of the show, welcome. And it was disappointing. Take the point. Absolutely. One first thing I said to Tony was, thank God we just walked away from there with a point. I mean, Southampton have been a bit of a prickly team for us over the years. And we're not sitting here for everyone, 300 plus of you, and a lot of you saying in the chat about don't blame the referees. We're not. We said that the referee had a horrendous game, but there was enough time to affect the game and go get the win, and we failed to do that. Mikey Hertz, good morning. Have you birthed any more children since the last time we spoke to you? We'll get to that. Schrodinger's, that's quite the name, isn't it? Too. I love some of this, some of these names. 65 likes and 330 in chat. Kev's going to be back live tomorrow. Don't let me send this report to him. Okay. Shaka Hislop is also going to be with us
Oh
tomorrow as
wow!
well, by the way. Yeah,
So
yeah. I love
the
Shaka.
ESPN FC, the connection
That's
is strong.
right. Yeah.
Love it,
Very good.
love it.
Yeah. He's,
Get my
he's,
friend Craig on, and I would love to be here.
he's coming next. I think Shaka and Stevie
So
Nicol are
love him,
like,
so funny.
All right. Who's next?
Saliba, Soph. I'm going to give him 6.5. I thought again, and I don't know if I don't want to put fatigue in there, but he there was one in the second half where Gabriel got him out of prison, where he lost a man, and then Gabriel come back and did and he sort of turned to him as if to say, "I've got you, but come on, like pull your socks up, boy." Because
Mm.
we're in it. The crowd got back on their side and everything. And how we've said all season, the guy looks so comfortable. He's got all the time. It was like he was rushing today. He just seemed to rush so much. I mean, straight away after the restart in the second half, they had that ball in and he just skied it off for a throw in. 9 times out of 10, he'll take his time on that ball, look up, pick it, and then try and restart. But today it was just like, get it away from me, get it away from me. It wasn't one of his best games like last week. It weren't a good game for him.
Yeah. You bring up a really good point about the rushing. Actually, Thibaut, he's on deck, Julian Laurent. Hold your breath on that one. It's coming. His son actually goes to school with my cousin's son. They're good friends. So, you know. I was at him I saw him at a rugby match and was standing on the sideline watching the rugby talking about Arsenal. That's how that conversation went. James, you bring up a really great point about Saliba. His game is always like he's the calmness, right? It's kind of like when you're at the party and everything's getting a little bit raucous and you need someone to turn the music down, stop some folks from drinking. He's like the dude that just smooths everything over. And he was a little bit rushed. He
He's the
was
guy
kind of
with the bin liner at the end. He scoops all the red cups and he cleans the room. Yeah.
exactly,
Yeah, he's that guy. He is that guy.
And it was, again, does fatigue play into that, or was it more desperation? It felt like I was more fearful of Southampton getting the winner than I was when we played Tottenham or Liverpool.
Mm.
It's really, well, I just don't think we had any command in that second half. And it felt like our units that have been working so harmoniously, so far this season just fell apart a little bit. And yeah, Saliba for me was very clever, bit of a party pooper. He gets a 6. A 6.
Yeah. Okay. His partner for me, Gabriel, today, 7.5. He wasn't my man of the match. I know he was a lot of people's man of the match, and I, again, don't disagree with you if he was yours. I thought he mucked in and done his job very, very well today. Again, like in the Leeds game. Yeah, I was impressed. You put the picture up there. New contract this week. Obviously, wanted to put a performance on. He got a bit of a bad rap in the build-up as well on Sky. They Redknapp had a bit of a dig at him.
Are you serious?
Yeah. He said if I'm a centre forward, I'm targeting him. He's a bit clumsy. He's rash. You can rattle him and he'll lose his head. I was a bit like bit harsh, Jamie, but okay. Fair enough.
They've been waiting for this moment.
Yeah.
We didn't give it to them today. We gave them some good fodder, right, for criticism, but they're waiting for that moment. And of course, Gabriel's the new dartboard. And so if Arsenal fans are jumping on that, some Arsenal fans are jumping on that, then the media are going to jump on it too. I thought he was the beast and the Gabriel that was the protector of everything at the back last season today. And there's been 2 or 3 games where he has bailed out Saliba, but Saliba's the shiny new toy, so he gets away with it a little bit more. I can't think of any header he did not win at the back. His interceptions on in the air were so vital to everything that Southampton did in that 6-yard, 8-yard area, James. And for me, he gets an 8. I thought he was one of the highlights of many lowlights in that second half. So, and I know that a lot of people in the chat think that that he had a good game as well. He's getting some 8s, he's getting some 7s, but he's getting mostly good reviews. A 7.7, that's a Magic Mike kind of score right there. Sam Supreme can't decide. It's a 7.52 and 8. So yeah, for me, Gabriel, I thought that for all the criticism he's had to face, he put in a really solid performance.
Yeah.
Who next?
Yeah. Tomiyasu, Soph. To start with, for me, he wasn't the player I'd have picked today. When I looked at it, I thought to myself, they got no Walker Peters, they got no Livramento. The Ketchup or whatever his name is, the centre back, the one the saucy one. He actually is a saucy player. Actually, he's injured as well. So I thought to myself, right, get your guy that goes up and down and pings in your crosses. That's Tierney. You don't need to have your invert in. You try and make your extra centre back or your extra midfielder in there. Go. Be a bit more bolder and go for it more. And I think we'll talk about the subs at the end. I think you saw what Tierney did straight away when he come on. I would have liked to have potentially have seen that for 90 minutes, not for 15 or 20 or whatever it was that he come on. But we'll go back to that. Tommy, I give him a 6. I did not think that he was at the races today at all. I thought he had a poor game, and I don't know if that's because he's coming off injury and he played quite a lot of the game on Thursday, didn't he? Before he was taken off for White, I think. So I thought, oh, maybe where White's had the break, you start White at right back, and then, like I said, put Tierney in. But yeah, no, I was not best impressed with Tomiyasu today, and I know he got a lot of flack for the goal, which is rightfully deserved as well. But even before then, I thought that again he was another one. Normally, he's a lot more progressive. And I thought today he was looking for those safe little sideways ones to the centre-backs too often, or back to Ramsdale. I didn't think he was bold enough to take people on as much as what he can do. You know, we're used to this guy being that ambidextrous fullback that can play right and left, and he will give and go, and he can put a cross in. You look at the goal that Martinelli scored against Newcastle last season, arguably our best goal of the season. The guy can put a ball on a sixpence if you ask him to do it. But yeah, today he was completely, like a lot of them, he was way off the pace.
So, where's that comment I had up from Faris? And I'm trying to not be too critical in the sense that, yes, he had a really good game against Liverpool. I didn't think he was that great against Leeds, but he was a grinder. He was
Yes.
someone that we needed in that resilient performance. That was also lucky, but I thought he showed a lot of resilience and helped the team out there. I asked this question to Arsblog as well and to LeGrove in the last week and a bit, because one of the things I've really liked about how Arteta's learned is that he hasn't been doing square pegs, round holes. He's been utilizing players who have played in those positions quite a few times and have illustrated their versatility, versus kind of having to shoehorn someone in. The best example, of course, is xhaka at left back and moments like that. Tomiyasu plays in that left center position for Japan.
Yeah.
He's not a left back, right? And here's what I wanted to ask you is that what I've noticed, as good as he was, of course, the Liverpool result will park that with Leeds. There was an onslaught from Leeds. I mean, it's total. If Liverpool play heavy metal, I don't quite know what Leeds play. Maybe you can help me come up with another music genre. But he's limited in his distribution and going forward. And eventually that catches up with you in a game, right? Now, in the second half, there was a lot that caught up with us today. And I'm not singling out Tommy at all. But I want to know your thoughts, if you agree or disagree, that the limitations in terms of his movement going forward, how he plays the ball, whether it's to the midfield or if he's trying to find Martinelli, I just don't see that. I don't see it being a benefit at all. And I think that in certain games, is this a case of Arteta also kind of doing the shoehorn thing? Because Kieran Tierney must be thinking, hold on a second, I'm fit now. What do I have to do to get a game if your first guy Zinchenko isn't starting? What's your take on that?
No, I agree. I think there's certain games where you look at it and you want to look at the stylistics of the game, because both of them, I mean, all three of them suit certain games. I mean, next to football, I'm a huge fan of the UFC, and there's certain styles for certain fights that will win you the fights on the day. And we saw it against Liverpool. Tomiyasu shut that side down. Absolutely amazing, especially like when you said he's come out the cold, come in and done something like that. But a game like today, you needed your Tierney. You saw it when he come on. You should have put your Tierney on. And hindsight's a wonderful thing, and you just hope that Arteta will learn. I'm not trying to be disrespectful to Southampton. I'm really not. But looking at their wingers and fullbacks today, there was nothing that made me think, oh, I've got to shut that side down, otherwise we're in big trouble today. I mean, their main striker was injured but come off the bench after about 70 odd minutes. So I don't really think, what was it that made you think you got to be as defensively sound as that because for me there was no real threat to it, in my opinion. Maybe I'm being a bit disrespectful to him, but
No,
I
I
don't know.
think we gifted them the possession. We were so sloppy with the ball, and I would love to see this stat, and by tomorrow I'll get it for the show. How many second balls we lost. And by the way, if there's any quotes from the gaffer, you put them up in chat and I'll read them out. But I think we gifted them the ball.
Yeah.
We were really poor with winning the second ball, and we've been really good at that this season. It was really frustrating to kind of see us be so sloppy. But yeah, Tommy, of course, he's important to the team, and I just prefer to maybe for the next couple of games give Kieran Tierney a shout. Lots of players looking a little bit tired as well. So yeah, that might be the way to go against Nottingham Forest. Who's next?
Thomas Partey. So now again, if you can do first half and second half ratings, I'd have given him about a 7 or a. Oh yeah, I am. I really am.
Magic
I would have
Mike giving you a hard time.
I would have given him a 7 or a 7.5 for that first half, because he was metronome Partey. This is the guy. And second half, oh my goodness, it was one of them where just everything's rolling off him. Positionally, he's poor, and so yeah, if I'm going to round him out for the entire game, I'm going to give him about 6.5. But yeah,
So
I mean, all of them really didn't have a great second half, but yeah, no, he was not at the races at all for me.
sorry, he gets a 5. He's I tell you something. I said this after the Leeds game, second half, of course. What was it, Leeds? Yes. When he decides to have a stinker, he's top of the league for stinkers. When he decides to give the ball away, it's like Christmas, just handing out gifts left, right, and center, Mr. Partey. He was awful in the second half. Awful. Absolutely awful. Let me get this up. Arteta says, no complaints. We were really good first half, created chances. We didn't put away. We'll get to that. In the Premier League, if you don't do that, you can pay the price. Totally
Yeah.
true. Amira says, Partey, 5 second half, gave the ball away so much in the second. I actually wanted Arteta to bring in Sambi at one point. I did too.
Mm.
Last 20 minutes, bring on some fresh legs, someone who can help keep the ball. I'm not saying Sambi's better than Partey, but when he doesn't offer anything, he becomes a liability.
Yeah.
And you notice, right, that there was a lot. Xhaka was working so hard in that second half because Partey was losing the ball so often. Then that centre back pairing exposed. I mean, it was not good at all. Absolutely not good at all. He gets a 5 for me. So yeah, let me just get a few more here. Bearded Gooner says Partey 5 off the pace in the second, misplacing passes, heavy touches. Absolutely. Michael, bringing the quotes from the gaffer. We stopped doing the simple things right. We gave so many balls away. There you go. Hey, me and James up for a Mikel's assistant right there, just repeating what we said. Nick says the Saints got physical and our players seem to have an eye for the World Cup. And James will bring that up with one of the substitutions, by the way. And I hate this eye on the World Cup stuff. It's garbage, I saw Varane crying coming off yesterday with an injury. I get it. It's horrible to see a player maybe lose out on a dream like that because it only comes around, once every 4 years. But my goodness, you're paid by Arsenal Football Club. You play football. You're not
Yeah.
worrying about the World Cup. You play now. Mikel Arteta will not forgive anything like that, and rightly so.
Yeah, I think you summed it up a minute ago when you were talking about Lokonga as well. I think it's a lack of trust. I don't think he trusts him enough yet to play Premier League minutes, which is a shame because if you look at how Atletico Madrid used to handle Partey, they played him in all the big games, but then after 70 odd minutes, they always took him off. They were like, manage his minutes because these legs will go. And I mean, it was remarkable. I think he went 3 seasons without having any injuries at all, and yet he come to us and he's just crocked straight from the beginning. And I think where we're using him Thursday, Sunday, he's another one of those Thursday, Sunday dangers. You just manage his minutes better. Just do not, don't have to keep him out there for as long as when that one ricocheted off him and they nearly broke away.
Oh,
I'd have just been like, reel him in. And Lukonga all weeks, he's been running his mouth, rightfully so, more so about his national manager than Mikel. And I'm like, I'd be like, go on then, show me something, I mean, okay, it's a high intensity game and we want the points, but at the same time, I'd have been like, go on then. And you never know. You never know. He's got a wicked long ball on him as well, Lukonga. So you never know. He might have maybe got a Tierney in or a Saka in with one of them. But again,
and I know Lukonga, comes under scrutiny a lot, but I find it a little unfair because I don't think he's been terrible for us when he's had to come on. Thought he had a good game against Aston Villa. It wasn't his fault we lost against Manchester United. Is that game different with Thomas Partey? Of course it is, because Partey's a different grade kind of player. Sambi's still 21, 22 years old, learning his craft. If we're going to be as forgiving as some other young players, then I think we should show the same grace to Sambi as well. All right, who's next?
Granit Xhaka. 7.5 man of the match for me. Second half, he had to drop deeper because he realised Partey's legs are going. So he's like, right, I'll sacrifice my, high 8 role and go back into the 6 to help with him. Really, really good performance from him again today. Passing wise, he did things that I didn't know were in his locker when he was running and progressing forward, and he tried to whip that cross in second half. I've not seen him ever like. It was as if to say, right, okay, none of these attacking players have really taken a game by the scruff of the neck, so I'm going to have to. And I liked it. I liked it a lot from him, and he is a real renaissance man for me this season. I think he's been brilliant.
I mean, it's by the way, you guys, I did see there were a couple of spuds in here, so I have blocked a couple. By the way, imagine listening to an Arsenal channel when your team is playing Newcastle United. Huge compliment to Squad Central right there. And yeah, King Arthur, go enjoy your game, right? Go enjoy your game, and let's just hit a block on that one as well. Yeah, there you go. Bye-bye. Au revoir. Jeez.
I don't. Has Danny D become royalty and changed his name?
Maybe. Well, everyone thinks he's got a few burner accounts now, so
of course he has. Of course he has. Oh, you're not a Spurs fan unless you got burner accounts, Sophie. That's part of the induction, I think.
Yeah, exactly. 8 for Xhaka. Amira 8.5 man of the match, 7.5, 6. That's a bit harsh. 6.5, 8. Xhaka is hands down our best. Oh, he's actually our best player this season so far, hands down. 8 says the Crusader ran himself into the ground. Yeah, second half, the dude was. I responded to Gunnerball's art, and I said, dude, he's a new Marvel character. This season, he feels like this character that's maybe been in the comic book once or twice, but he's come out of nowhere and become a real superhero. Magic Mike is the one that really has to take back all of that love he's had for Xhaka. He's lucky he didn't kill him a few years ago, to be honest with you. If looks could kill, that was the Marvel character. 8 for me as well. I thought that he and Gabriel were our best players today. What a superb finish. Beautifully taken. It wasn't even a half volley. It was like a eighth of a half volley. I love it. Granit Xhaka. Or Kaká. Whichever way you want to say. Just consistent, important, leader, tries to G the team up, when we're a little bit down. Everywhere on the pitch today, doesn't hide, helping out his teammates, really showing that mentality that is needed when it felt like a lot of players were just wimping out in the second half. Sorry, it was a little bit weak sauce. So yeah, Xhaka gets an 8. Who's next?
I'm going to go for Odegaard, Soph, and I'm going to give him a 6.5. I thought some of the balls he played were very, very good, and I think he was a victim of poor finishing, which obviously we're going to touch on in a minute. But again, he was another one. I think he just got really leggy second half, especially, which you don't normally say about him. He's one of the guys where you're like, no, like xhaka, this guy's stamina is normally off the rails. But yeah, he, for me, did not have the best of days out there. What did impress me, though, is first half when that one come across, he backed himself and he hit it. So I'm like, okay, we're seeing improvement now. I'm like, he realizes I'm going to have to hit a few of these more. So yeah, he gets a 6.5 from me.
Some fans just don't see it. And there's a few in the chat, stop protecting him. He goes missing too much in games. Again, I've said that he's the player that works in the shadows. And I think a lot of Arsenal fans want to see pomp and circumstance from Odegaard every single game, James.
Yeah. Yeah. When you have 42 touches of the ball and you out of them is 34 passes and you make 30 of them, so you end up with 88%. How do you go missing? How's that missing? If you get 88% on your passing, you have 34 passes in the game and you make 30 of them. So okay, he had 4 that went astray. Okay, yeah, I'll give you that. But he's gone missing. How sorry, and I'm not one of these that, I'm going to use stats to bash people with it. You can't. I'm sorry, I'm not having that he went missing today.
No,
he just ran out. He just ran out of steam. That's not missing. That's just fatigue. That happens to most people because the guy basically does, he does about 12k a game on average.
and also, now these clueless Arsenal fans blaming Thomas. If you don't play Arsenal, lose this game. I don't know. I mean, look, I don't know who's saying that, but he didn't have a great game, mate, in the second half. It was great stat. I think he meant stats there. Did old Marky B? I mean, this is the thing that is just really frustrating sometimes. And look, no one's KDB, but James just dropped some major stats. Ineffective.
I blame the others more than him.
Yeah, I don't think he was the major problem. If Partey was dominant in the second half in the midfield and bossed it like we know he can and does, then you want to talk about Partey doesn't play, we win the game. If he did his job better, I think we win that game. If he didn't give the ball away so cheaply, I think we win that game. If Tomiyasu plays a little bit better, we win that game. If everyone plays a little bit better, we win that game. And if our forwards finish their dinner and their dessert, we win that game. It's a collective. And unfortunately, for the first time this season, it felt to me that everyone had a bad game at the same time in the second half, pretty much, barring a couple of players.
Yeah.
So who's next, James?
I'm going to go, let's go left. Let's go Martinelli.
So again, with Martinelli, my comment about, I think that he suffers when Tomiyasu plays in certain games, and it felt that way in this one. There was no outlet for him. Tomiyasu was way too busy having to defend and track back, not enough, overlapping going forward, helping. I don't think that's Tomiyasu's game on that side of the pitch anyway. Yeah. I thought that there were a couple of times when he was dribbling, and again, I just want him to look up, see the pass, and didn't do that. You can't fault his energy. You can't fault his effort. He looked frustrated. He looked really frustrated in this particular game. So I'm going to give him a 6.5 because he always puts in the effort. He's always looking for the ball, and he's another player that just doesn't hide.
Yeah, I'm going to agree. I'm going to say the same. And for me, would you have took him off?
No.
No.
Because when he's fit, he seems to have an engine. His endurance is pretty good.
Yeah.
And we'll get to the subs, and we'll talk about why we think certain players should have come on or off. Yeah. But to me, when everyone's playing that badly, James, in the second half, you need at least your difference makers to stay on the pitch, because I feel like he could change a game on a whim and in a moment. Whether he's dribbling, whether it's a finish, or it's an assist or a ball. So yeah, no, I wouldn't have taken him off.
Yeah, and I'm going to give him the same score as you. I think he should have stayed on. I would have actually liked to have seen what Tierney and him would have done for exactly the same reasons you've just mentioned,
Yes,
because Tierney would have
exactly.
gone beyond, and then you drag that player out, leave Martinelli free, and you never know what happens. Again, hypotheticals. Sorry, I know we hate dealing in hypotheticals in this show. I know you
Right,
sometimes like the what if game.
I do. I
but,
love playing the what if
but
game.
on days like today, you don't want the what if, you want the absolute, don't you?
Yeah.
Saka, Sophie, for me, 6.5. Can't believe he got booked. Can't believe it. What the hell was that all about?
He did drag his leg a little, but he shouldn't have been booked.
I know, but come on. That is absolutely ridiculous.
I mean, it's the ridiculousness of the whole refereeing part of the game, which we don't
yeah.
want to blame the game on, because
No.
we had plenty of chances to win it.
No, not in the excuses game. For me, I'm not playing that one. I just, you know that he's going to get two people on him because he's that good. If anything, it's a compliment to him that the fact that he has two people go towards him and try and stop him. And they were a very physical side, and unfortunately, he just couldn't be the Saka that we all know he can be. And again, you can point to Thursday, him having to come off because it looked like he was injured, and you were just like, Mikel, please, why is he doing 87 minutes? And he comes out with the great comment that, well, these top tier players play these 70 games a season. And I'm like, well, the players that you mentioned, which were Messi, Ronaldo, and who was the third one? I can't remember who the third one who he said. But I'm like, they're in their 30s. They've been doing this for 20 odd years. Saka's, I don't mean to be horrible because he's incredible, but I'm like, Saka's what, 21? 20, 21?
Yeah, he just turned 21 a couple
I'm
months
like,
ago.
he's not played football for 20 plus years, Mikel, like Messi and Ronaldo. Knows their body better than most people.
Right.
Knows, probably has played these same players for nearly 10 or 15 years, so they know what they're going to get. He's still out there getting, for want of a better word, walloped all game.
He's not getting the respect yet.
He's Warhorse, that guy. He's always getting hit.
But you see, James, this is why, did you really? I know he got the goal, which was very lucky in Norway. But did he really have to start that game?
No.
Did he?
No.
Right?
No.
I mean, does he have? I know Arteta wants to win every single game, and I get that.
Yeah.
But you also have to manage the process smartly. It is a long season. This is why I've, like, everyone, let's just keep it here.
Yeah.
Because anything can happen. Injuries can happen. He needs protection big time.
Yeah.
Like,
I understand
I wouldn't start him against Forest. Would you?
No.
At some point, he needs to have a break.
Yeah. For me, I'm looking at it and I'm like, I can see what Mikel's doing because he wants to win that group, and then it avoids being second and having that playoff tie, whatever
we can have a bye. We can have a bye week, basically.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I bet you they're asking him to play as well. For sure, Saka's not going to him. Oh, please, boss. I don't feel it today.
No, he's going to want to play every game.
Exactly. He's going to want to play every minute, every second. Of course he is. And for me, I think now, I don't want to jump the gun because we still got players that we want to do for this game. But on Thursday, you don't need to see him. You don't need to see him. You don't need to see Jesus, and you don't need to see Martinelli. Go Marquinhos and Nketiah and Nelson. Just do it. Just do it. Yeah. Because even if you get a draw in the Netherlands, you've won that group. You've won it. So don't bother with them. Let them all have that game off.
Agree. All right, who's next?
Jesus, Sophie. 5.
Man.
And oh my goodness. What's going on? Siri got involved.
He's trying to call me. Siri was
Yeah,
calling me.
I don't know why. Yeah, he gets a 5 from me, and the reason being, I know that he's an incredibly strong player, and he got roughhoused today. However, Sophie, I've seen it the last couple of games that I've watched this guy. He keeps hitting the ball directly at the goalkeepers. Pick a corner, any side you want. Go left, go right. You've got goals. But he hits them directly into the goalkeeper. And I don't understand if this is he still reeling from when, because he definitely looked like he was knocked out when your man Simicas elbowed him. He looked like it was like his eyes rolled into the back of his head. And I thought, oh no, oh no. So I don't think he's still reeling from that. However, he does everything else incredibly. But at the end of the day, you want him to score goals. We got to get him to score some goals. And I think he's only got one away this season. He's incredible at home. But I think the only one away is the Brentford one, isn't it? The header. I don't think
He hasn't scored since the North London derby.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tony said this too. She goes, "Why does Jesus just complain about everything? He looks like a little moaner." And I go, "It's a good thing. He needs to be in the referee's ear. Look how ill-treated he was by the referee today. I'm not making excuses for him. The dude was battered." Now, I completely agree with you and great observations in terms of his finishing. Everything is just going straight down the middle. And he actually gave himself the opportunity. It was in the second half, he pressed high. And then who played him through? Was it Saka who played the ball through to him? He
Yeah.
had two defenders
Mm.
and he just took an extra step too much and gave the defender the opportunity to come in with the sweeping leg. But that was definitely going into the corner. He was aiming into the corner for
Yeah.
that one, but he was just a little bit slow off the mark getting his shot off. This was a massive subject on the show last week. Kev asked it on Kev Says on Friday. What I said to Kevin was, because we all love his pressing. We all love what he does off the ball. One of the best pressing forwards in the world. There's no doubt about that. But at what point does that become a compromise for him scoring goals? You know, at what point, the sacrifice becomes too great? Because, Saka, thank God Xhaka's scoring in the last couple games, right? Odegaard could have got a great goal today, albeit by a few inches with the ball crossing over the line and going out. And I think as long as other people are scoring and we're winning or drawing and not losing, does it matter? It actually does, because that's his job.
Yeah.
It's his job to score goals.
Exactly. I mean, Soph, I'd love if Kev was here right now, because what I would ask him is that first one, I know he's offside, but just mentally, you still got to tuck that in, haven't you? I'm like, even though he's off, you still got to put that in the net. Because I'm like,
well, would he get a yellow card though? That's the problem with that. Like,
well,
he's playing
yeah,
after
but
the whistle.
again, they do it late, don't they? Because he fired the shot by the time. So, but even still, for me, I'm like, does that psychologically rattle him for the whole game? Because he's like, oh, I've missed that one. Is he a guy that, unless he has that, if the first one doesn't come off, is he still thinking again and again and again, am I going to score? Is that slowly creeping into his game? Because like you've said, he hasn't scored since the North London derby. And I looked at it when Eddie come on, and eventually they did move him out left and put Eddie down the middle. But I would have made that sub the way it was going for him. And just the more and more he kept getting tackled. And like you said, he was complaining, and he's like, ref, come on, how many times this guy's elbowed me? He's raked the back of my legs. He's threw me to the ground. I'd have just took him out of the fire. I'd have gone, right, Eddie, you go. And I'd have let Martinelli stay on. And I'd have just, gone for it. But there will be people that look at that today and think, okay, if that's the template, just wrestle him, because you're not going to get the decisions. You're not going to get the decisions. We've seen it so often in this league now.
It was really pathetic though today because
Oh, it was a
Jesus is a
joke.
season. He's 25. He's young, and like sometimes, young players have to earn the respect with the officials and stuff. Absolute bollocks. Just do your job. Are you joking me right now? That penalty yesterday, McTominay, right? Exactly the same challenge. I think a lot worse. I thought the penalty was a little bit soft, but he still had him around his waist, right? Sorry, that's contact in the box. Penalty to
Mm,
Chelsea.
mm.
That happened to Jesus in the first half. They didn't even look at it. They looked at it. Oh, well, they've checked it. I'm like, seriously? What are they? Can they not see?
Yeah. So can I just quickly ask, because you have obviously a different feed that you're watching over where you are compared to what we've got over here.
Mhm.
That Tierney one, did you get a replay?
No,
Yeah, I got
no, we
one
did
because
not.
so many are saying to me, "Have you seen on Twitter?" Because I've not watched it back. But when I saw it at first, I thought pen, and it looked to me like the one that Cedric had against him for Spur when we played Spurs away. But apparently
If
he's gone round the guy. He's grabbed Tierney by the throat, is what people are messaging me. I'm having my
if
WhatsApps pop up, and they're saying to me, "He's grabbed him by the throat, James. If you go back." I mean, people said about the Ben White one at the end of the second half where he got the push, but in real time, I thought, no, not for me. But again, that never got a replay.
I think, and maybe Bearded Gooner. So I because at that point I was making a note, right? Because
Yeah,
I was clocking at least 3 penalty shouts for us,
yeah,
and the referee did not go to the monitor once, and
no.
then there was a VAR check on two.
The one on the one on Jesus, sorry, in the first half, that's undeniable. That is a pen because he
Yes,
goes to pull him down, doesn't get it, but he still keeps on and does it again. It's like he's still grabbing him because the initial shirt pull he's gone for hasn't worked. So he's like, oh, I'll just go for the waist then. And I'm like, that's unbelievable because I'm like, you've got one, then two, and then three because he's holding on. So I'm like, you've got 3 instances there where you could give the pen. It's the initial fouled shirt pull, it's the grab, and then it's the holding.
I mean it was just awful, and Tierney is not the type of player who stays down too long,
No, no,
especially when the opposition got the ball
no.
and they were hitting his flank, right?
Yeah,
On the break from that.
yeah,
So I would definitely like to look at it, and we can talk about it on tomorrow's show and get an impartial view as well from Shaka Hislop, who'll be joining us on Monday Madness, an extended Monday Madness tomorrow, for you guys to look forward to. Super Kev will be back and he'll give you his thoughts on the game. If you have Sky Sports, you probably enjoyed watching Kev cover the Arsenal game today. Um, Subs,
yeah.
should we do them all together? We have
Um,
Eddie, we have Vieira, and we have Tierney. Here's what we're going to do, right? Let's do Tierney first because for me, he was the one that had some type of impact. He didn't play for too long. He gets, for me, a 6 because he showed glimpses of what could have been in the rest of the game. And I'm just going to leave it at that in terms of, you know, you said it would have been great if Martinelli had stayed on. We'd have seen Eddie down the middle, given Jesus a bit more respite on, what was a frustrating game for him. I thought Tierney looked good when he came on. He gets a 6 for me.
yeah, yeah, same. Yeah, I thought he was really good. Lively, which we needed at that time. He come on and had a bit of a spark to him, which, like I said, before that game, looking at that right hand side, you'd have thought that's the guy for me for 90 minutes. But I'm not going to lay into Mikel. We're still top, still 2 points clear. So roll with it and let's go Thursday and Sunday. And the other two, Eddie for me, ineffective on out wide. I think he should have come on. I think he should have come on
Being
for
polite.
Jesus. Yeah,
I mean, look, when you need your subs to come off the bench and affect the game, and let's be honest, it's Southampton, right, who have been not great, right, at all. He did nothing. He can't do it consistently. That's the problem with Eddie. He just can't do it consistently. This was a game for him to come on and grab a winner and be a hero. And he had a great chance towards the end and he just hit it so wide, James.
yeah, Yeah, he is one of those guys that I think if you're expecting him to bow you out, he's not. But if you're in a bit of an ascendancy and everyone else is still clicking, he'll click as well. I think he needs everyone else around him to be
Great point.
perfect, because on his own, I don't think he's that guy. But again, like someone's put there, he is so much better centrally. I don't like this experiment of putting him out
Oh,
wide for me.
that's another shoehorn. That's one of my square peg round holes. That wasn't necessary, you
Yeah.
know. And we'll get to the gaffer.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, he done it well midweek. I'll give him that. He weren't too bad at it midweek, but then again midweek, I know it was 1-0, but we absolutely dominated them.
yeah, he
It
did.
was we were all over them. But when it's bitty and tight and horrible like this, not not the time, not the time.
No,
And
he's also he's a good guy to James to
oh,
like.
Spurs are losing 1-0. Fantastic.
Yeah, when I was at the it was Aston Villa earlier in the season.
Yeah.
You know, we've got a lead. He's good at holding up the ball.
Yes,
Just
he is.
put him up down through the middle. He'll hold up the ball. He takes it into corners. He's very clever like that. He has specific um, tools in his toolbox. Today was not one of those. Now I know that you have strong feelings about this substitution, so I'm just going to let you riff.
Yeah, I love this guy. Before people think that it's a criticism, I think he's amazing. And when he does bulk up, be afraid, because he's going to be some player. But to bring him on today, when you saw for how long the way that game was going and everything else, it for me it was a silly sub. To take, I know obviously, like I mentioned earlier, Odegaard was tired and just get the legs on or what have you. But yeah, you could have, again, hindsight's a wonderful thing. You could have gone and sacrificed it, gone into a double pivot again, and put Lokonga in there and tried it maybe from that sort of aspect. But yeah, you could tell he was just going to get rough-housed, and he did. He got completely rough-housed out of that game.
And
Not his fault at all. It was just one
no,
of them. You looked at it and you thought, that's not the sub to make for me.
he wasn't great on the ball either today, which
No,
was
no.
shocking.
But
He's getting muscled off,
that's
like you're
like I said
saying.
earlier. I think all of it was just it just all felt rushed. I know that you want to get the points and you want to win, but there's still it was like they didn't, like a hot potato. Oh no,
Yeah,
yeah. It was so
yeah, exactly.
rushed, so rushed.
Ah, good stuff, James. Right, the gaffer. What does the gaffer get for you today? Aujourd'hui, le gaffer, c'est combien, s'il vous plaît?
I can't completely wallop him, because if you told me that we'd be in this position now at the start of August, I'd have probably laughed in your face and I'd have asked who your dealer is. So, I you know I'm gonna get, yeah. I think a 6 is right. I think a 6 is right. Again, maybe the subs were quite off, but yeah, I'm not gonna completely abuse the guy. And we never do well on the South Coast, Sophie. If you remember the Invincible season, we didn't beat Portsmouth home or away, and we were very lucky to get a point out. Was that the one where Sol Campbell smashed a screamer in?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if my memory serves me right. So again, you got to get, like, I know it seems to be the theme the last couple of Bodo, Glimt, and Lee. Just get out as soon as you get out with what you
Fire up
can
the
and come
jet.
home. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, fire up the
yeah,
jet.
yeah.
Look, here's what I do like about Arteta this season is that he's started to really manage games better, make subs at the right time and good subs. He's also learned from the Manchester United kind of going for it maybe too much, right? We want to win every game, but there would have been no shame coming home from Old Trafford with a point. I've said that, I stand by it. When we played Tottenham, we still came out high octane, smashed them in the mouth, but much more disciplined, right? And I think he's learning more this season and adapting. I believe he'll come out of this game too, having learned. That was my biggest criticism of him. So arrogant, not learning from his mistakes. Last season, massive lesson. Going into this season, wow, look at the adjustments. Look at the mentality of the team. Look at how everybody's playing well together. And he's got everyone clicking together. Today, nothing clicked in the second half. Don't think that's his fault, but the subs are his responsibility. And today was off. And he hasn't been off all season. So, gets a 6.5 for me today. I would have played Tierney, and we've talked about the subs that we would have made at the time we would have made them and why we would have made them too. So, I think that it's also hopefully another lesson for him, James, and Edu to be like, you know what? We really, like we've all been saying, we still need 4 or 5 pieces here. Like in order to really kind of keep that competitiveness going, be consistent and really super challenge. And, I
I
think
think,
these are lessons hopefully
yeah,
they learn.
yeah, and I think that they've already got their eyes on one of the big pieces. I think if they go and after the World Cup without getting that number 6 cover, I think it's suicidal. Um, y- the way we're playing at the moment, there's 7 games left to the World Cup, and again for me, I don't, obviously don't like looking on paper, but the only real test for me is Chelsea. That's the only
Mm.
real one that could be
Well,
a bit
Forest just
a
beat
bit of a.
Liverpool.
I
It's a
know,
good time
I
to
know.
play Forest. It's a good listen, that took a lot out of them, that game. It's a good time to play
Yeah,
Nottingham Forest.
yeah, yeah. And I tell you what, I don't know how Man United keep De Gea in goal and have Dean Henderson out there. He's been
He
amazing.
was
The
what a
last two,
save he made.
the last 2 games, he's been absolutely phenomenal for me. Henderson in
What
goal.
a save from that header. Was it Van Dijk's header?
Yeah, yeah.
What a save that was. My
Mm,
goodness.
mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I really think they're going to have to go for this number 6, and obviously they can't get Douglas Luiz now. He committed, didn't he? So that's going to
Yeah.
cost you an arm and a leg. But I think we're going to go back in for that other Brazilian boy that we wanted last season, but we didn't get because was it
Um,
Danilo
Danilo,
Pereira or
yeah.
something? Because
Yeah, Danilo.
he was, I swear, he was like doing quite well in Copa Libertadores or whatever it's called, and he was
Yeah.
like, "Let me stay and win that, and then when the Brazilian season finishes, I'll come." I swear it was something like that that
He
he
has
said.
Danilo has a really big well, most Brazilian players have a big release clause in their contract.
Oh yeah.
And I think, if I can remember correctly, Tom Canton said it was around 8. I have to check, but it was 80. It was high, you know?
Oh God. Okay.
But that generally is the case.
Mm.
But if he's the right player, I
Because
mean,
he's in that well, first of all, Brazilian, so that's one part of the criteria that we always look at. he's 21 to 25, so 2. That's another, and he's got a long name for the back of the shirt, so you have to get more letters, don't you? So he fits that criteria as
yes.
well.
Well, he'll go short. There'll be some type of,
Yeah, yeah.
that the one that just a couple final thoughts here before we let everyone go. We're going to go watch the football as well. 2 things. One is I we haven't played particularly well in the last couple league games, right? We weren't great in Norway. We were good at home against PSV. It's important that this is just a fad and doesn't become, it's like a fashion fad. It doesn't become the norm. And Thierry Henry was very critical of Marcus Rashford, when he gets into positions, just score, bang it in the net, right? I I hope that there's some type of kind of come to Jesus meeting at training on Monday where, I think he's an arm around the player kind of, he's very emotional, right? It's important we start scoring goals. Like he starts scoring goals. And if he's scoring goals, we're winning those games. Yes, we'll make mistakes. But this is what I said on the show. Like, you can't kill Gabrielle for making a mistake or the back line for continually making mistakes and call them out and not call the front 3 out when we're not scoring goals. Because in essence, they're their mistakes. That was our Achilles heel last year, wasn't it? Lacazette, towards the end with Aubameyang. Eddie comes on and saves us for a few games, but he's proven he can't do that over and over again. So it's really important that somehow, some way, he finds his shooting boots, James. And that, I think, will be hopefully a key focus. Again, I'm really interested to see how we adapt, because this will feel like a loss to them, no doubt. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how the team adapts for the PSV game away, but also mostly against Nottingham Forest, who just had a phenomenal result against Liverpool, who I think are gonna, it's a good time to play them, as I said.
Oh yeah.
Those are my final thoughts. What about you?
No, I totally agree with you. And on Thursday, you know for a fact that probably Gabriel and xhaka are going to play that one. But for me, I don't think we need to see any of them. I think even with that somewhat second string, you can get at least a draw against PSV.
Mhm.
I think you
Yeah.
can hold on to a draw at least, and that's all we need. I mean, yeah, I'm not saying let's play for a draw. I want to win every single match. If Arsenal were in a raffle, I want them to win it. A coin toss. I want us to win that. But yeah, no,
Exactly.
bring Cedric back in. You can even put Tomiyasu next to Holding if you don't want to, and have Tierney start that, or
Yeah.
whoever at
We have
left back.
options.
Yeah, yeah.
We have options.
Get Sambi in there, get Vieira in there, and like I said, do Marquinhos and Ketia and Nelson, because I need to see more from Reece Nelson. I've cast him out a few times. I'm like, no, I've seen enough of you that I don't think you're it. But he was in the Dutch league last year, weren't he? He knows these boys. He's played against them.
Yeah, I
He's
think
back.
he might get a
Think to
game.
him. Yeah, he might think to himself, "Oh, let's have a go."
Yeah. I'm wondering if you and I should not put the Spurs game on,
I'm not going to.
because they're losing 2-0.
At
So
first,
I'm not gonna go put it on.
At first, I
Um,
was just like, it's the most anti-football side in the league versus Newcastle, who I love going up there, but again, they're a fan base that have such an entitlement that I don't understand.
yeah.
Because I'm like, you've never won anything in the whole time I've been alive, yet you believe
Won
and
anything since
perceive
the
yourselves.
60s.
Yeah, bless them. Like, if there was one club that deserved to win something, it's them, because their
Is it
fans
though?
are. Yeah,
Is it?
their
They
fans are
just have
amazing.
such an elevated perception of themselves.
I
It's
know,
a
but
joke.
it's a great night out if you can ever go up there.
Oh, I've had some good
Yeah,
times in Newcastle,
same,
that's for sure.
same, same.
Right, we're gonna get
Went to a
everyone
place
out.
called Flares there,
Ooh,
and
hello.
they were drinking pints of wine, and I thought to myself, you lot are different. You lot are very
Wow.
different. Yeah,
Wow.
bless them,
Wow.
bless them.
Okay, we need 7 more to get to 150. Chief Like Officer, nice job. Well done. Thanks to everyone who's joined us in chat.
Oh, did
Thanks
Almiron
to
score?
Huh?
Did Almiron score for
Yeah.
Newcastle?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
that's me staying on
No, I
top of
think
your
so.
fantasy league. Oh, what a weekend!
Oh my God, I haven't even checked my team since week 1. I'm so useless. This is how I roll. We'll be back live tomorrow night, 8:00. Super Kevin Campbell will be back live in studio with everyone here at Squad Central. Look forward to that. He'll be answering a ton of your questions that you sent on Friday. He'll also be giving us his take on tonight's game. And Xhaka Hislop, former West Ham and
Newcastle.
there you go. Goalkeeper will be joining us so we can ask him lots of questions about Rambo as well and get his view on the Arsenal so far this season. You can watch Xhaka Hislop on ESPN FC. He's a top shelf guy. It'll be a great show. Monday Madness. It will be a mega Monday Madness, bit of an extended show. So come prepared for at least a couple of hours tomorrow, radio style. All right. If you have any questions that you want to get stuck into, the Highbury Squad at gmail.com. Don't forget our good friends at Zenith Coins. All right. Go give them a visit. HS20 for your discount. Get your mates a gift or gift yourself this wonderful Zenith coin. It's a great price as well, and it's perfect for the holiday season. And it will be the
Yeah.
gift that keeps on giving.
You won't be throwing them at Guardiola, I tell you.
No, keep
They're the good coins. They're not ones you want to throw away. You keep those.
That's very good, James. Very good.
You're welcome.
Very
Topical.
good. The Highbury Squad coin as well. We're giving that away. Get your nominations in the Highbury Squad at gmail.com, the Highbury Squad at gmail.com. We've got some fantastic nominations so far since we have announced that. Speaking of the gift that keeps on giving, James Johnstone, one of my favorites. Thank you
Oh,
so much for
appreciate it.
joining.
No,
Let
thank you.
everyone know where they can find you here,
Uh, yeah,
right?
there's the Twitter handle there, and then there's Purely Arsenal FP there. That's one of the podcasts that I'm on. And then there's also James Johnston Football on YouTube, which is my channel. And I will go back to making vids. I go to myself, I'm going to make a video today, and then I get into a bag of crisps and films and everything else. Watched The Gentleman last night. May I
You
say,
like?
best film I've seen Hugh Grant in. I thought he was sensational.
Hmm.
I found him hilarious. I thought he was brilliant in that film.
My recommendation last week was the outfit. Have you got to
I've never
see it?
heard of seen this. Okay,
Mark Rylance,
okay,
fantastic performance, great film. The outfit.
gotcha,
That was my film
gotcha. Have
recommendation.
you seen
Right.
Don't Worry, Darling yet?
No.
I
I'm
need someone. I need someone else to see it.
I'm waiting for it to come out. I'm not going to the movies
No, no,
to
no.
pay money for
Yeah,
that.
yeah. I'm not going to get my money back. Um,
Yeah.
the girlfriend's been informed that you know, I'm, I'm a few money short on that
Did
film.
you watch the Policeman movie as well? Did you watch that? Is it My Policeman with Harry Styles?
I have not seen that one, but
Yeah, he's getting killed in
my
that.
God,
Not very good.
the boy's wooden. He is wooden.
Yeah. He would have been good in Toy Story.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. On that note, enjoy your Sunday, what's left of it. For those whose Sunday's just starting, have a wonderful, wonderful day. Be safe, everybody. And we will see you live back at Squad Central tomorrow night. Don't miss the show. James Johnston, thank you as ever. You are epic. And I love your tactical analysis. Please, please go give James his channel a subscribe. Okay. He's awesome. And you'll be seeing him a lot on the Highbury Squad this season. We love new voices. And he's new-ish, but his channel needs your love. Okay, so
Oh,
please go
thank
give
you.
him some sugar. All right, see you kids. Take care. At ease, everyone. At ease.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad.
I had to just say something. I'm so Greek. Long goodbyes. Totally. Get me out the door.